Since talking to Lily yesterday, I've wanted to try and move on from the listlessness I've felt ever since coming to Yamako. But even if I tried to concentrate on the book in front of me, Hanako's empty seat at the back of the classroom looms larger than life. Every time I start getting focused, my eyes flick over to her desk again, and my mind starts spinning. It's Mickey. Once more, my eyes drift over to it. But this time my vision is blocked by a certain other classmate. Oh, hey Mickey. I forgot her voice. Maybe you should just have lunch. I can hear your stomach growling from my desk. I let my head drop in disappointment. She seems to take some amusement from my reaction and hops, really, it's Hopsman, hops up onto my desk. Her grin as she sits on it reminds me of the Cheshire Cat. So, what you working on? Some math. I have a decent handle on it, but I just wanted to revise. Oh, really? Let me see that. Before I can object, she grabs my mathematics book with her hand. She scans the pages I was holding it open with the one hand she has, her left arm sitting uselessly on her lap. In my time here at Yamako, I've noticed that the other students have a wide range of adjustments to their disabilities on a purely practical level. Mickey is one of those that seem to have some trouble. The stump on her left arm tends to be either hanging by her side, slipped into a pocket, or otherwise put out of the way. Sometimes she has a difficult time doing common tasks, which makes her visibly quite frustrated. I feel a little bad for thinking this way, but I'm thankful that Hanako and I don't have disabilities affecting our freedom of movement to that extent. Then again, if Mickey's problem worsened, at least she wouldn't have a real possibility of dying. My attention is refocused as she thumbs through a few pages, skimming their contents. With such a casual interest in the subject matter, it's clear by now that she won't be any help. I'm guessing you're not too interested in this stuff. Screw math, it's boring as hell. Give this woman a cookie! She puts the book back in front of me with indifference. Her eyes move to the notebook beside it that I'd been working out. What? Practice equations on. My god, I'm going crazy. I haven't had a cup of tea yet. Leave me alone. Wait, you're actually able to work that stuff out? Yeah, that's a downright lie. Wow, I've never talked to a computer with legs before. Thanks, I think. At least I'm doing better in this than history. Come to me, Sal. Think it's worth asking the librarian for help? I heard she's shooting for uni. Yuko, maybe. I don't know what she wants to study, though. So, what about you? Got anything you're thinking about doing after you graduate? I was going to say true name then. But I resisted. I'm trying to. Me? Nah, not really. Just enjoying it while it lasts. So she looks a little awkward when asked about the future, and absent-mindedly rubs her left forearm. I kind of want to ask her about it, but I don't think I know her well enough to do so. The conversation peters out, and I lean back in my chair, giving up the prospect of studying. Mickey notices my tired expression and looks oddly serious. Thinking about Hanako? It's that obvious? You've been glancing at her seat, and you've been pretty quiet. Not too hard to connect the dots. I'm just worried about her. Yeah, I can see why you would be. She can get worried sometimes. I think, was that worried? Weird, it was weird sometimes. Yeah, She sounds put off, but I can't blame her. Hanako was a hard person to interact with before she warmed up to me. Even with Lilly around to help, I haven't known her for that long either, so some of her habits would still be unknown to me. My face becomes troubled. If I hadn't developed feelings for her, this would be at least a little easier to deal with. I feel nothing. I'm a nobody. No offense. She isn't a bad person, I know that much. That pout, that is a brilliant pout. I know. I didn't take it in that way. It's just harder to deal with when, well, you know. You have feelings for someone. Damn it. Yeah, I can imagine that. It's hard to forget something like what happened to her during class, too. I wish she hadn't reminded me of that. She just confirmed that it was clearly noticed by others in the room as well. Come on, don't get that down. She's done this before, you've just gotta wait it out. Well, waiting isn't good enough. We need the now. She locks... Wait, I better pause the video a minute. There we are. She locks herself in her room and acts like an empty husk of a person for a sizable amount of time. Oh, God. Ever since she entered Yamaku, if not before then as well, and I'm not supposed to be concerned about that? Can we add an X and anagram Hanako's name? God, she fits perfectly. Well, I might think that, but there's nothing that I can do. I can't force her to come out, and she does see a therapist, so it's not like she isn't getting any help for her issues. Maybe it's natural to think that way when you're so powerless to help someone. That's just the way she is, and you just have to deal with it. My God. As I mull things over, I notice a movement out of the corner of my eye. I glance to see who it is, and I end up doing a double take. My God. Sure enough, it's Hanako. Can I? I'll check later. She walks through the door just as she would any normal school day, and begins to move towards her seat in her usual silent and humble manner. Well, you're not going to speak to her or anything, no? She looks at me for a moment before blushing and looking away in embarrassment, which makes me realize that I was staring at her. I feel sorry for that, but not doing it is hard after all that's happened. That grin. The girl sitting on my desk looks to me, grinning. See, your sweetheart's back already. What did I tell you? You be quiet. It might only be meant as a joke, but she hits close enough to make me quite uncomfortable. As we talk, someone calls Mickey's name from the door. She jumps down from her vantage point on my desk before turning to me. Gotta go, Hisao. Remember to eat sometime, will ya? Fine, I'll see you. I wonder if we can romance Mickey. She gives a casual salute before jogging over to the door, where a male student in the gym uniform is waiting for her, probably someone from the track and field club. Seizing the opportunity, I get up and make my way to Hanako's desk. Hello. Hi, Hanako. What's up? Nothing. Lies! Maybe talking to her this soon after she came back to class was a bad move. Want to come with me and grab something from the cafeteria? I'm pretty hungry. But I thought you were studying. Studying can wait. Turning up for class after all this time must have taken some courage for Hanako, so the least I can do is stay with her. Isn't that the exact opposite with what Lilly said? That's just the way she is, and you just have to deal with it. Is the way Mickey and probably the class as a whole views Hanako. I can do more for her, though I want to do... Well, I can do more for her, though I want to do more for her. After being distracted by Mickey, I don't think I'm going to get any work done. Come on, let's go. She hesitates, but eventually gets up and joins me as we begin walking. These may be small steps for her, but the fact that she's finally out of her room of her own volition lifts a large weight off my shoulders. Oh, God! Just remembered! Oh. Oh. The minor words, I know, but still. I just can't wait for 1.5. Oh. My pen... What? Busily scrawls into a slowly filling page of my notebook. My other hand remains on the page of a reference book I borrowed from the library, making my spot as my eyes flicker to and fro. She cannot return from the realm of darkness on her own volition. I have to say it. As I work, I occasionally mark red circles or underlines onto the photocopied sheets of paper that lie on the table in front of me. Wanting a change of scenery from the library and to avoid the distractions of the classroom, I decide to make use of the Shanghai for some quiet study time. It ended up being nice and quiet as expected, and being able to get coffee while I study is a nice bonus. Trying to hold in Zexion's line. Hanako may have returned to her normal self since she came out of her room, but I've done quite the opposite. Daily routine may have returned to us, but I feel as if I'm a different person. Maybe I'm not. It's only been a few days, after all, since I decided I wanted to try and get out of the rut I'd found myself in after my accident. But I want to change, and I'm now actively working towards that goal. Actively. Probably. Or at least I would like to think that I am. This is impossible. Brute forcing this isn't going to work. What's more, I have another piece of writing I have to do after this. I fear that's not going to be easy. It didn't say that, but still. I beg your pardon. I look up in mild surprise to the source of the tentative voice. Yuko stands at the head of the table with a damp towel in hand, clearly having taken the opportunity to clean the tables while no other patrons were around. She looks curious, her eyes as much on my work as on me. What's the matter? I was just wondering, what sort of work are you having so much trouble with? Oh, it's just history. I'm fine with science and maths, so I'm trying to get my other subjects up to par. You bastard. Fine with... You can just say fine with maths so casually. Yuko looks positively delighted at this development. I feel like I just chose the right answer on some big quiz show. Where's my money? Oh, I think I can help you with that. If you don't mind, of course. I briefly considered turning down the offer in order to not cause her too much trouble, but she looks too excited about this for me to do it. It would be mean to shoot her down like that after such a reaction. If you're willing to help, I'd really appreciate it. And a happy face clap. She claps her hands together and quickly deposits her towel on the counter before returning and taking a seat across from me. I take my notebook off the top of the textbook and hand it over for her to pursue. So, you're studying the Edo period? Edo? Yeah, I'm not really much good at this, though. She takes the textbook and reads a few pages from a random section near the middle for a bit, but the aura of enthusiasm she'd been radiating previously is rapidly sapping away. Sapping? Slipping away. I'm guessing this isn't the kind of history you were expecting? Unfortunately not. My main area is European history, especially in the classical area. Sorry. She looks a bit downcast, but as she carefully closes the book and lays it back down on the table, her face perks up again. Would you like another cup of coffee? Tea? Oh yeah, sure, you bastard. I reach forward and get my book back as Yuko gets up. Yuko takes my mug and slowly walks to the counter to make another brew. Brew can only be used for tea. As usual, she's absolutely silent as she does this. Every ounce of her concentration is focused on not tripping over or dropping the plain white mug. I take the opportunity to lay back and relax for a bit, the hum of the coffee machine filling the otherwise quiet air. It's small details like that which makes me realize how much I've come to appreciate the little things in life. The peace and quiet of the local town, the discipline and order of Yamaku, the green of the trees that were so rare in my home city, the relaxed pace at which the agging residents live their lives. Everything feels so certain. It's comforting. I can feel myself beginning to nod off when the sound of the mug coming to rest on the table grabs my attention. Seems like it arrived not a moment too soon. Yuko takes her previous seat once again as I pick myself up and bring a hand around the mug to check its temperature. It's just a little too hot to drink right away, so I blow on it a little. It's a shame you don't like history all that much. I sort of guessed you might be more into science. How so? You've nearly read out the science fiction section of the library already. It wasn't hard to notice. You do have a good point there. Well, what can I say? You've pegged me just about right. You sound like you really take an interest in history, though, especially considering how specific you were about it. Do you study in that area or something? Go on digs overseas? She giggles nervously at the thought. I'd like to visit the Mediterranean sometimes and see the old architecture and art for myself, but I don't think I could trust myself to handle such delicate things. Oh God, I'm saving up to formally study it in university, although I also read up on it whenever I have free time outside of work. So Mickey was right about her university aspirations. Considering how she fares as a waitress, a more theoretical path may suit Yuko better. It's nice to hear that she has some ambitions, though, considering how hard she works. I nod and take a careful sip of my coffee. By now it's cooled to the right temperature, so I begin to drink while keeping an eye on the book below, trying to read at the same time. A few minutes pass quietly, Yuko looking out the window and watching the world go by while I have my coffee and study. She's spying on us. A movement catches my eye, and I look up to see Yuko smiling and waving to someone outside. Following her gaze surprisingly reveals to be Hanako. Hanako? She is looking at us from the side of the street across from where we are. Her usual all too visible timidly is largely absent, probably thanks to there being so few people around right now. Evidently, she decides to join us after a little wave. She gives a quick glance up and down the street across towards the side that the cafe is on. She came on her own? Give that girl a cookie.